Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first Story to Shelf interview session with RangeMe, where I will be interviewing inspirational founders in the CPG, FMCG space, and very privileged to have with us today Julianne Ponan. I hope I've pronounced it correctly, calling in all the way from the UK market. Julianne is the founder and CEO of Creative Nature, and we're excited to learn more about your exciting business and how it came to be. So thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Amazing, amazing. So when I was reading up about you, I saw that you started or bought the business when you were 22 years old in 2012. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about how that all came to be and how it's evolved.
Yes. Yeah, I was kind of thrown in the deep end. I guess if you were to ask me, would I go back and do the same thing? I would say yes, just for the fact that I learned a lot. However, it probably would have been easier to start from scratch, as at the time, the business didn't do anything that we do really today.
Right.
So Creative Nature now stands for a top 14 allergen-free range that caters for people with allergens. However, back then it did things like statues, candles, incense, sold at festivals, all of these different things. And it was in, I think, over £56,000 losses at the time. So it wasn't a profitable business either. But yeah, when I took over, I got rid of the whole management team. I started from scratch, and yeah, I grew it out from there. Really, and within 18 months we were back into profit, which was great.
Amazing. And Creative Nature today, what is it, your core categories and your core distribution areas?
So now we are a free-from business. So we specialize in baking, so baking mixes, snacking and confectionery. So anything that's like a sweet product at the moment.
Yeah.
So we've got something that's like a Malteser, but 39% lower sugar, and caters for all the allergens. And then we also have our snack bar and superfood range as well. In terms of distribution, we are across the UK. We're in all the major multiple supermarkets for different product lines. So, for example, we've got some of our baking range in Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda. We've got our Magical product in Co-op in the meal deals as well.
Amazing. And I was reading about your products all being around, definitely this allergen focus, but also not sacrificing taste, which is great. How do you balance that? I know many years working in FMCG or CPG myself, working on products in the snacks category. Yeah, it was always like the balance between, but taste was almost like a cost of entry. If it doesn't taste good, the customer's not going to come back.
It really is, and that was one of the really tough things. I think at the beginning, what we did was we went out and sampled a lot, and I think the most important thing is to get as close to your customer as you can, and you have to keep doing that. I'm even doing that till today, and even over the last couple of months, it's been getting back, like knowing that customer and understanding their need, their want, their taste palette, and even COVID can have changed that as well. So you've got to keep doing it. When we first sampled, I'll tell you a story. We went to Kingston High Street, and I thought what we had made was absolutely amazing. However, when we sampled it, people even spat it out. It was not ready for market at all.
Wow.
But it needed tweaks and everything. It took a while to get to the right recipes, but once we did, we're now a brand that's won 2 gold stars at the Great Taste Awards, which was the first ever cold press bar to do so, and that's blind tasting. So they can't see the packaging or anything, and they don't even know it's free from. So when you're up against that, I think that's when you suddenly go, okay, this is a product that you can take to market. So that's really fantastic, and I think you have to listen to your customers and see what they want.
That's a really great lesson for everyone who's going to be listening, around making sure your customers or your target audience is tasting your product and perfect it until it's great tasting before you can actually take it to market. So I imagine you on High Street keep trying to give everyone a bit of a sample. and fast forward to today, how big is your team, and how has the business evolved and changed?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the team, there's around 10 of us full time, and then we also have 6 people on the manufacturing line, as we have our own top 14 allergen-free facilities in that sense.
Wow.
And it's all about being able to manufacture without the may contain. A lot of factories across the UK and US and various countries, they cannot remove the alibi labeling. And that's so important for us because if we say it's nut free, we need to ensure that the consumer can eat it, especially, for example, me.
May contain traces of. And so did this business come out of your own needs for certain dietary foods? Like, do you have allergen?
Yeah, so I have severe anaphylaxis. So, for example, say I met you and you had eaten nuts and you shook my hand, I could even go into anaphylaxis from that.
Wow.
I've been in intensive care numerous times when I was younger. More I've been able to control it when I'm older, I think, because you've learnt to live with it. But going to the free from sections, I think the US is ahead of the UK in terms of that, because you've got free from aisles, whereas we've got bays, and it's still 80% of the bay has a may contain or it's got nuts in. So
Wow.
there's still a problem.
That's crazy. And are your products distributed in the UK only, or where else do you distribute?
We're in 16 countries, which we're really proud to say. And we've done it through various platforms such as RangeMe. We've also gone to ECRM events. We've done trade shows abroad. In terms of our footprint at the moment, I'd say we've got a strong foothold in the Middle East, in UAE, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar. And that's through supermarkets like Spinneys, Waitrose, Lulu's, Carrefour. And we're really trying to grow that out. And we're going to Gulf Food, which we hope to be able to expand our footprint there.
Yeah.
And then also in the US, we launched in the US last year, only very small, dipped our toe in the water, and we've launched through the New at KeHE program.
Oh, great.
Which has been a really interesting one to do. And we're in around 250 to 300 independent stores at the moment, and looking to get the retailers over the next 12 to 18 months.
That's fantastic. KeHE is a strong partner of RangeMe, so that's a really good one to get into, because they really are focused on health and wellness, and those types of retailers. So well done in getting a foot in the door there. It's a great one to be in. What advice could you give to people that are looking to expand into other countries? Like, how have you done all those 16 countries? Has it been finding partners on the ground there, or what has been your major footprint for success?
I think it really does depend on which country, and I think you do need to take different models for each one. Going direct to the supermarkets can be fantastic. However, you might not have the importer to be able to get it to the supermarket or the distributor. So it's understanding, for example, the US, there are 3 or 4 people in the chain, and you do have to work with brokers and various people. Whereas in other countries, such as Europe or the Middle East, you can supply direct as well. So it's just taking each model as
yeah.
And then also I'd say platforms such as RangeMe, I think it gives you the knowledge that you need. It also gives you in a way a shop window. I think that's what we've used it for, to be able to upload your products, tell people about it, and you can always send them to RangeMe. You can say, this is what I do. There's also buyers that you can connect directly on RangeMe, so you have a certain amount of submissions, and that makes it really easy to pick and choose when they are actually looking for your product. So you can go on the system, submit there, and then also on top of that, do your due diligence and contact them outside RangeMe as well, because at the end of the day, RangeMe is a platform, but you need to also engage the buyers outside as well.
Yeah, that's great. You've summarized it perfectly. So one of the things we always like to ask successful founders and brand builders and people like yourself is, what is the biggest F up you've ever done in your career of creative nature so far, and something that you've learned from, or something that has changed maybe the path of the business because of that F up, or just any insight into that?
There's so many things, I think, as a founder, and at the time you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. However, you find a solution. I'd say one of the things is like PR and marketing. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing at the beginning. it was really early on in the journey, I think the first year, and I spent like 16,000 on an agency that got 2 pieces of coverage, which I could have got myself. Learning from that though, and understanding that going to the biggest agency isn't always the right thing to do at that time. It might be later on in your journey, but you need to understand where you are, and being very resourceful with little resource at the beginning, I think is
absolutely a great lesson. I always say be as scrappy as you can. I remember in the very early days of RangeMe, I found out who the editors are in certain trade publications, and I emailed them directly the press releases and connected with them, and they kind of stayed in their roles for a while. So whenever we have news, they would always pick it up. And I think it's about building that relationship yourself so you have it within you. So I guess for people listening, don't get fooled by these shiny agencies. You're paying for the expensive offices, and when you are, when you're later stage, it's okay, but when you're early on in your career, you need to be scrappy, and
every pound counts at that point.
Every pound, every dollar, it all counts. And so now, what's next for Creative Nature? What are you most excited about for 2023 and beyond?
So we've really got a big focus on export. So that's we really want to grow our footprint, like I said, in the Middle East, the US, and Australia. On top of that, we really want to grow into the school market, as we really believe at the moment the school market does not cater for people with allergies. I was that child that had to sit on my own on the allergy table. I don't think that other people should have to go through that, because allergies, it's not just about having the allergy, it's the anxiety and the separation that you get from not being able to be around other people. So I think that's really important for us. It's one of our core missions. And then to make safe flying better, because at the moment, that's probably the worst time for me as a person with allergies. Getting onto a plane is basically a metal box that you can't get out of. And if someone eats nuts, I could die, which I think people need to understand the severity of that. And hopefully, in turn, they wouldn't eat those nuts, and airlines can stock products. And we're already launched on Virgin Atlantic at the moment, and we hope to launch on more shortly.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's a great channel that a lot of people do forget about, that food service channel of airlines and other areas like that. And I know that ECRM do a great job of having a lot of those types of distributors or retail doors at a lot of their sessions that you wouldn't ordinarily think of. I think one of them was the US military and the US Marines, and there's so many other areas where there's huge volumes, and they rely on snacking products and packaged foods, and you wouldn't ordinarily think of them. But yes, definitely, I think the airplane channel is a great one. So that's very exciting. So congratulations. Sounds like you've been on an incredible journey, and I think that you're probably ahead of your time, because gosh, I think about myself with kids and the amount of kids that have got allergies. Like, it's literally when someone comes over, you message the mum saying, are there any allergies? Because it's just always now top of mind. So you've definitely right on trend, and I'm sure that it will just continue to grow and thrive. So congratulations on all your success, and it's been just great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.